I like it though. Look, that's a protest from evolution. So my final statement was what is considered a revolution. And my people was based on how French revolution. I would say it was more of a real revolution. Like my Republican students were like that paper my I did a paper on the constitution and it had to be the whole semester work. Much just we did a 3-day presentation for next week. Hello. With a 10 people describing it. Describing it. When they're writing, and I'm saying, yeah, they get a press for my research in public policy. I was learning hard. Public policy, cost tables, scatter plot, statistics. Now I can make data. I was like, what is the chance of this? And then like, the next forecast, man. Like, what's the percentage of the next year? Okay, everything else. Yeah. What are you gonna do? Oh, thank you. Mm-hmm.
You know what? I'm going to leave.
Good evening, everyone. We are still waiting for a quorum, so we'll give it another couple minutes.
Accessibility stuff. Yeah. We had no idea. Yeah. That was 2017, 2018? Oh, it's 2019.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. We have yet to achieve quorum, but we are going to informally start some conversations so that we can move us along, and hopefully we can make quorum by the time the fun stuff happens. Good evening, everyone. My name is Julio Peña III. I'm chairperson of Community Board 7. Welcome to our December meeting. I want us to get started. If there are any elected official representatives present tonight, we'll start with that. And I'm just gonna call them as I see them. So come on up. Yes, please.
Have these headphones to give to your toy drive.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
I have some headphones for the toy drive.
Josh, do you want to take the headphones?
Thank you so much. Hello, good evening, everyone. I'm from Senator Iwinchu's office, if you didn't hear me yelling on my way up here. First of all, I just want to give a little season's greetings to everyone. And as Senator Chu starts her first year in office comes to a close, we just want to say thank you to the community board for all the close, amazing camaraderie and work we've done together. And happy holidays to all. And we also want to announce that last week, Senator Chu introduced a legislative package that is pertaining to e-bikes and the safety of e-bikes and the lithium batteries. So included in first of all, this community obviously has, especially Sunset Park, has experienced a bunch of these horrible e-bike fires. And so something needs to be done about this new crisis that our neighborhoods are facing. So part of the legislation includes that any location storing or selling e-bikes will have to have a fire suppression system. We've heard testimonies from firefighters that have had to respond to these scenes that these fires spread very, very quickly, and a suppression system is needed to prevent the catastrophic losses of life and structure and homes that we've had. So, we need to correct this. So that's one example. And another inclusion in the bill package is that as soon as someone buys an e-bike, we're starting the education on the illegality of riding on the sidewalk. So any e-bike sold in New York State the manufacturer will be mandated to have warning stickers on the e-bike, warning seals or stickers on the e-bike that says, safety precautions and the illegality of riding on the sidewalks and those rules. This issue, it's an explosive growth of a new sort of micro transportation that's just dropped off in droves in Brooklyn. And so unfortunately, this is something we kind of have to retroactively respond to. But, we're listening to the concerns of our constituents and a lot of the complaints we get and trying to somehow put a handle on this big problem. Yeah. That's a great question and something that's being explored. That's, that would be the DMV, probably a DMV thing. So that's in talks, but as of right now, I don't have an answer to that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that is also an issue that we're trying to enforce with the NYPD. They've done a few sting operations in terms of if they see a bunch of them in one place and, they're obviously illegal, they can just take them in, and that's kind of what they do on these sting operations. So that is also, there needs to be enforcement, when they see that, and we can make complaints, of course. The more complaints, the more urge the precinct is to.
So everybody who has a question tonight, we're going to ask you to use a microphone. Folks online cannot hear you, no matter how loud you are in the room. So they asked me to repeat the question, if you don't mind. The question was, are the bikes going to be licensed and plated?
A lot of these bikes are rented, per my understanding. So how do you reach people who are doing the rental, who are actually the users, but they don't have ownership of the licenses?
Right. So usually the people that are renting in some capacity, they're being stored or charged in a certain place, like there's mass charging stations, or they're being stored by the owner of the bikes, or the company they're renting from. So those companies and those storage facilities would be subject to the rules and the manufacturing updates and legislation as far as, fire suppression systems and safety precautions. So I guess that's how that would be addressed, because again, most of these people, they don't have the chargers in their homes. They can't charge it in their homes. So it's kind of, if that answers.
As you can see, there's a lot of interest in this topic with this board. I would love for perhaps in the new year, when the legislative session starts, to perhaps hold either a joint committee with a couple of others, maybe transportation, public safety, so we can learn a little bit more about the legislation and perhaps answer some more questions, because this is a very important topic that we have been trying to address. So we would love to learn more about the legislation and hear how we can support it. Thank you. Is there any other items in your report?
No, for me, that's it. But I guess further questions, we'll hopefully have a town hall or something like that we can.
Thank you. Manyak, Borough President's Office.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Manyak Yu. I'm the Director of Policy with the Brooklyn Borough President's Office. Two quick announcements tonight. One, I had mentioned it during our last board meeting, but just want to remind everyone that community board applications are due on February 19th. So if your term is expiring, is going to be expiring, just make sure we will be notifying you. Make sure that you submit another reapplication so that we have your interest on record. And for those, there may be specific board members that we may reach out to for another interview, but if you have been keeping up with your attendance, you likely will not be reached out to for another interview. So just make sure to keep that in mind. We also recently had a workshop for those that are interested in applying for capital funding. We did a workshop for schools as well as another workshop for nonprofit organizations. Capital applications will likely be out sometime in January. It usually is released in alignment with the city council discretionary application. So if if you know of a organization or school that is interested in applying, please feel free to refer them to the city council website. We also will be posting recordings of the workshops on our website and have a one-pager with more descriptive information. And if you have any additional questions about the application process, feel free to reach out to our budget team, and the information is also on the BP's website. And that's it from me. Happy holidays.
Any other reps appearing in person? Okay, moving on to Emmett Mendoza with Assemblymember Mateus' office.
Emmett, you could unmute yourself.
Hey everyone, not sure if you guys can see me or not. This is Ahmed with Assemblymember Marcelo Martinez. I am in commute to the community board meeting. Definitely want to be there in person, but I do have a couple of updates on my end on both events as well as legislation. Just for everyone's sake, on November 28th, we launched our Clean Deliveries Act campaign in Red Hook in front of one of the Amazon last mile facilities. For those of you who may not be too familiar with the legislation, which is A1718, this bill seeks to create a permitting process under the Department of Environmental Conservation to not only bring in existing warehouses, but future warehouses who seek to become last mile distribution heavy warehouse centers, which includes a lot of the parcel, last mile distribution, and sorting centers that we're seeing that are opening up in Sunset Park as well as in Red Hook. Was a big success. Just a couple of events that are coming up. Please mark your calendars on January 9th. Governor Hoke was going to have her seat of the state address where she's going to share what her legislative priorities are going to be for New York on her end. Obviously, the governors and our assembly members' agendas may have similarities or may differentiate. So definitely, I think it's important to understand what the governor is addressing, so at least we can know what the playing field is going to look like. On January 10th, NYSERDA will be hosting an education offshore wind house event in our district. So for those of you who might be interested, the event will be held in the areas of Red Hook on the, I'm trying to figure out the date. So they're having two events. They're having an event on the 10th and they're having an event on the 11th. The 10th will be in Red Hook House in Red Hook. I'm looking up the information right now. And it will open up exactly in the Mikio Center, January 10th from 6 to 9 p.m. The address for the Mikio Center will be 110 West 9th Street. It'll be one of the only ones in the city along with Astoria, which will happen the day before. So it's a great opportunity for folks to be able to attend and get information. The following day, NYSERDA is going to have an event at the New York Marriott at Brooklyn Bridge. This is going to be for a offshore wind supplier forum. The address for this one will be 333 Adams Street. And this is going to be all day from 8:30 to 6 p.m. Again, this is at 333 Adams Street on January 11th. On the legislative side, Assemblymember Marcelo Martinez, along with Assemblymember Zora Mamdani, are co-prime introducing a piece of legislation to end real property tax exemptions for those private universities in New York whose annual property taxes exceed over $1 million or more, and direct the resulting revenues to CUNY. At the moment, unfortunately, as many are aware, CUNY universities are severely underfunded, and by being able to tax a lot of these private high-end universities who unfortunately have a lot of properties around New York, we will be able to finally find a way to close the deficit on funding. Two more things on the legislative side. Marcella is signing on and supporting a sign-on letter that's going to call out Mayor Adams to end the harmful and arbitrary 30/60 day shelter limitations, particularly as new immigrants are being thrown into the streets at this current moment. And the second sign-on letter that Assemblymember Marcelo Martinez is signing on is for a letter to call on the governor to opt into the summer ABT program in schools. as we know, a lot of people are going to start looking for summer meals. At the current moment, 20 other states have opted in, and it currently brings an additional $200 million into the state. So these are some items on our end. We wish you all a happy holiday and a happy New Year's. Looking forward to seeing you all soon at the holiday social. But sending you all love and regards. Thank you.
Thank you, Emmett. Francesca, with Senator Gennardis's office.
Francesca, you can unmute
Hi,
yourself.
everyone. Are you able to hear me?
Yep.
Lovely. Hi. Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone's doing okay. I just wanted to first start off, wish everybody happy holidays. I'm on my way. I had a dog emergency. I'm so sorry I'm not here with you in person, but I do have a couple really fun updates I wanted to share as well. The first was on January 1st, the New York State Parks is having a first day hikes program so that you can go to any state park in New York State and start off the new year right, kick it off in nature, and explore some of the great parks that our state has to offer. That Saturday, there's also at the Basilica of Our Lady of Perpetual Help, which is right on 60th Street and 5th Avenue, pardon. The Sunset Park Lions Club is having their annual Fiesta de los Tres Reyes, so their Three Kings celebration. It's going to be a really amazing cultural celebration with food, dancing, and everything. So hopefully we'll see some of you there. I also wanted to share something on the legislative side. So recently, Senator Gennardis paired up with fellow Brooklynite Assemblymember Brian Cunningham, to find faith-based solutions to New York's housing crisis. If anybody wants to share their ideas on this, please feel free to call our office at any time. We always want to hear what our constituents think. And if anybody needs help finding tech-based careers in Brooklyn, please also reach out to our office. And if there's anything at all, please don't hesitate to reach out. Happy holidays, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Francesca. We have a follow-up question for Francesca.
What's up, guys?
To follow up to something that one of your colleagues asked at either the previous meeting or the one before that, but I know there was mention that Senator Gennardis had sent a rep saying that they were going to have updates for the board on the reconnecting communities and maybe a copy of the application. Is that still in progress, or do you have any other updates on that?
I'm sorry. So could you repeat the reconnecting communities?
Yeah, so there was a
It
grant.
cut out. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, there was a grant that the senator, I believe, wrote a letter of support for, and one of your colleagues mentioned that at either the last meeting or the one before that they were going to get back to us with updates, and I think they mentioned that they would have a copy of it sent to the board as well.
I was present at the last meeting, and I have to be honest, I don't remember mentioning this, but I can definitely get on that and get back to you. What was your name again?
I'm John DeLuper, and I think it wasn't the last one. It was probably the one before that then.
Oh, sorry, I just started, so I would not be aware, but definitely let me get that for you by the next meeting. So it was the Reconnecting Communities letter. Okay, yeah, I remember like hearing about this in the office. I will definitely look into that for you before the next meeting.
Thank you, Francesca.
Thank
Myra
you.
Molina from Congressman Dan Goldman's office.
Myra, you can unmute.
I'm as all of you that know already, it's month of the year, and the Congress member just would like to thank you guys for all the work you have been doing. In addition, just a note from office will
Myra,
close after.
Myra,
hear
your
me?
audio is coming. Yeah, it's a little choppy.
I think it's because my Wi-Fi is really bad. My apologies. So, we'll be closed from Friday, December 22nd till if there's any passport cases that any to reach out to, they should be reaching out beforehand. Legislative updates from our office. The Congress member had with the Green New Deal for public schools, that the Office of Schools from the U.S. Department of Education administered new grant programs and also create an education planning pilot program funded by that would be $100 million to address historic school funding in our district. Another issue last month, the Congress member was in the CB report, but just update that he's been trying to he's on the Biden administration to protect Palestinians in the United from deportation to war zones. And in addition, he's also really to enter bill package to reduce the student loan debt burden. And that would mean that there would be two acts, which act would allow students to student loan borrowers, student loan codifying Safe Plan Act, which will codify the Biden administration due income driven and try to find ways to help students their payments. If you have any questions, I is very spotty, but feel free to reach out. More information in the chat, and thank you.
Thank you, Myra. We heard most of it, but if you could send us perhaps a written report, that would be most appreciated.
Yes, I'll be sending the board report as well. Thank you.
You. Any other elected official reps on Zoom that we may have missed? Okay. Congratulations, we have achieved quorum. So we will officially start our meeting, and we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. And now we will go to the roll call.
Good evening, everyone. When I call your name, please acknowledge. If you are joining us by Zoom, please remember to unmute yourself, acknowledge your name, and then mute yourself again. Let's start with Amel Afzal. Thank you. Grisel Amador. Thank you. Damian Andrade. Thank you. Joan Body. Thank you. Gladys Bruno. Thank you. Glorinet Contras. Jerry Chan.
Present.
Thank you. Jerry, you do not count towards the quorum. Esteban Chavez. Thank you. Richard Kodor. Christina Das. John DeLuper. Thank you. Beatrice DeSapia.
Present.
Thank you. B, you do not count towards the quorum. Gabino Morales Escamilla.
Present.
Thank you. Gabino, you do not count towards the quorum. Cynthia Felix. Cynthia Gonzalez. Diana Gonzalez. Thank you. Hector Gonzalez.
Here.
Thank you. Hector, you do not count towards the quorum. Kenny Guan. Nicole Huang.
Yeah.
Thank you. Nicole, you do not count towards the quorum. Nicholas Jackson. Thank you. John Johnston. John Johnston. Jeremy Kaplan. Thank you. Beverly Kleiman. Thank you. Wyco. Thank you. Barbara Lee. Christina Lem. Thank you. Angie Lau. Paul Mack.
Present.
Thank you. Paul, you do not count towards the quorum. Antoinette Martinez.
Present.
Thank you. Antoinette, you do not count towards the quorum. Marilyn Melman. Thank you. Rosie Moda. Rosie Moda. Jamie Nelson. Thank you. Julio Pena III.
Present.
Thank you. Karen Rolnick.
Present.
I'm hearing stereo. Who was that online? Who's on Zoom? Who's just said present?
That was
Okay.
Rosie Mota.
Thank you.
Present.
Rosie, you do not count towards the quorum. Karen Rolnick. Thank you. Joanna Romero.
Present.
Thank you. Joanna, you do not count towards the quorum. Patricia Ruiz.
Present.
You, Pat, you do not count towards the quorum. Damaris Santiago. Thank you. Sam Sierra. Thank you. Ryan Smith. Thank you. Kalina Sorma. Thank you. Victor Swinton.
Present.
Thank you. Victor, you do not count towards the quorum. Cindy Vandenbosch.
Present.
Thank you. Catherine Walsh. Thank you. Cesar Zuniga. Thank you. This is going to be close.
Did you get me
Who is that?
John Johnston?
No, I did not get you. So thank you. You do not count towards the quorum. (26) present. We have a quorum.
Thank you, Jeremy. So I'd like to let's try that again. I'd like to move to adopting the agenda with 2 corrections. I would like to remove the elected officials report because that just happened, and tabling the chair's report. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda as amended? Motioned by Pat, seconded by Sam Sierra. Without objection, I'd like to adopt the agenda. Seeing or hearing none, the agenda is so adopted. I'd like to move to adopting the minutes of the November 15th board meeting with 1 correction. At the very first page, Senator Ewen Chu's name starts with an I instead of an E.
Motion.
Motion to adopt as amended by Pat, seconded by Damian. Without objection, I'd like to pass the minutes unanimously. Seeing or hearing none, the minutes have been passed. I'd like to move now to public comment. This is for 3 minutes on members of the public for an item on the agenda. You can do so by raising your hand. Either microphone. Oh, Joan has it.
I will try and. Okay. I just wanted to. I'm on the board, but I did just want to provide public comment briefly. My name is Katie Walsh. I provided testimony in front of the Public Design Commission this past Monday regarding the Steiner Studios project. I just wanted to share that in that Public Design Commission meeting, the New York Economic Development Commission misrepresented proceedings related to Community Board 7 in front of the Public Design Commission. And I was very concerned about that when a commissioner asked about the community board vote on Steiner Studios EDC said that at the recent meetings on November 14th quorum, there wasn't quorum that was reached to be able to make a vote, and that all questions had been answered, and then it was pushed to a full board meeting, and then the same thing happened again. That is not correct. At the board meeting that we had in November, Community Board 7 voted to table the Steiner vote, and it was not an issue of quorum, and we tabled the vote to this meeting. So I'm very concerned that the New York Economic Development Commission was representing affairs of the community board and misrepresenting it. And then there was a second question that was asked by the commissioner to the Economic Development Commission about could EDC speak to the community board questions on the use of Steiner Studios?
Are you aware of responses to that? Are you aware of any objections made by the community board to the competitive process and the content of the RFP? And the response from an EDC representative was, I'm not aware of that. No, that is also not correct. The community board 7 has been on the record on this, on the use in 2020. And there was a letter that we sent in, that the community board sent in 2020, asking EDC to delay their vote on approving the use of Steiner Studios. So I just wanted to raise this because the New York Economic Development Commission controls and operates a lot of the property along the waterfront. And we need to have as much transparency as possible, but I also don't think it is appropriate that they represent the issues that are being discussed by this community board, which represents the neighbors. And there needs to be a clear designation between the two. And I'm very concerned because the Public Design Commission then made a decision last Monday based on what they heard in responses to those meetings about Steiner Studios. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. We have additional public comment on Zoom. Jeremy, can you call them, please?
John Santori, you can unmute and you have 3 minutes.
Yes, hello. I'm speaking on the same issue that Katie just brought up. This is John on 56th Street. Sorry, I'm just drinking some water here. So about the PDC vote on December 11th, I just wanted to share my recommendation that the community board return to the Made in New York South Campus issue and cast a vote on that. Now, I'm a bit unclear. I see that it's on the agenda tonight on November 14th, which is the last time that this came before the committees, the Parks Committee and the Economic Development Committee. I don't believe that anything was passed on November 14th, to the best of my knowledge. Economic Development did not have a quorum, and so it could not pass anything. To my knowledge, Parks also did not pass anything. So I don't think that there was an item on the agenda on November 15th, to my knowledge. Maybe that can be addressed. But regardless of that, I think what matters the most here is at the PDC hearing on December 11th, PDC repeatedly talked about Community Board 7. They approved all aspects of the Steiner Studios plan. That's the film project and the parks project. But specifically what they asked for was they asked CB7 to pass a vote, to take a vote and to take a position on these projects. The commissioners specifically raised that as a condition for their approval. It's in their records, but she said, quote, a condition of their approval was, quote, we would continue to be apprised that this team follows through to make sure that CB7 has a vote where there's quorum, that they take some action on this site. So I'm encouraging the community board to revisit the issue, to give members of the board a chance to take a position on both the film and TV studio and the parks proposal, an updated position. And I would also note that at that PDC vote, the assembly person, the council person, and Julio, the chair of CB7, had sent a letter to PDC asking for the matter to be tabled. PDC did not table the matter. So I think what's most important here is that the community board revisits this, gets on the record, and takes a vote on these projects. So I'm encouraging the board to do that as soon as possible, possibly as soon as January. And I would support any action to that effect. So thank you very much. And I appreciate considering this matter.
Thank you, John.
Alok Daisa, you can unmute yourself and you have 3 minutes.
Hi, good evening, and thank you to the entire community board for the opportunity to provide comment at today's meeting. My name is Alok Disa, and I'm Senior Research and Policy Analyst with Earth Justice. I'm here on behalf of Earth Justice and the Last Mile Coalition, who many of you have heard from at previous meetings. We're working with local electeds, community groups, and environmental advocates throughout the city to address the harmful impacts of last mile mega warehouses and bring some oversight to a sector that is currently unregulated. My comments tonight focus on 2 of the items on the agenda: the Department of City Planning City of Yes for Economic Opportunity proposal and the administration's efforts to address last mile warehousing. But first, I want to thank the entire Community Board 7 for endorsing the need for last mile regulation in the City of Yes process for carbon neutrality. I'm talking about the comments that you all submitted to DCP back in July. We appreciate the partnership on this issue and look forward to continuing to work together. So later on, we'll hear from DCP on their latest proposal to overhaul the city's zoning regulations. That's the City of Yes for Economic Opportunity. The department acknowledges that the current zoning text, dating back to the 1950s, is not up to the task of regulating land use, given the major macroeconomic changes in the decades since. As their proposal notes, existing rules are often outdated, irrelevant, complex, with detailed regulations for industries that no longer exist and completely silent on uses that are severely impacting quality of life throughout the city. So we're supportive of this effort generally, which the department notes is intended to, quote, foster vibrant neighborhoods by ensuring businesses contribute to active, safe, and walkable corridors. We also support the proposal's focus on, quote, encouraging safe and sustainable deliveries. Their proposal would create a new use for micro distribution facilities as an effort to combat the increased truck traffic and congestion caused by the shift to e-commerce. Such uses would not be allowed unless a project is determined to not impair the community character or future use of the development and will not create or contribute to serious traffic congestion and will not unduly inhibit surface traffic and pedestrian flow. But the proposal fails to address the entire e-commerce delivery network. In fact, it ignores what may be its most consequential manifestation, the last mile mega warehouses that are popping up with no oversight in communities throughout the city. There is no policy or technical reason why these facilities should be ignored as part of a broader effort to minimize impacts from e-commerce. The department has the authority to shape a proposal that mirrors that relating to micro distribution centers, but for last mile mega warehouses, and ensuring that their impact on safety, congestion, and quality of life are mitigated. So we call on
25 seconds
DCP.
left.
All right, thank you. We call on DCP to address this glaring omission by incorporating a text amendment on last mile warehousing in this broader City of Yes framework and urge the community board to call for the same in its formal comments. And finally, we also urge the community board to lend its support to the Clean Deliveries Act, state legislation that Emmett mentioned and Marcella Matenas is supporting that would require all mega warehouses in the state to reduce emissions and local impacts in line with city and state climate policy. The Earth Justice and the Last Mile Coalition are very eager to collaborate with you and looking forward to getting these two critical policies across the finish line in 2024. Thank you for your time and happy holidays, happy new year.
Thank you. And I believe we have one additional public comment. If you can come up to the microphone. Okay, we'll go back to the online one.
Hi, my name is Belle Stone. I'm a resident in Sunset Park. I live on 45th Street between 2nd and 3rd Avenue. I'm here today to give comment on the application for a liquor license and cabaret license for the Family Hall events. That is in an application. It's on 45th Street and 2nd Avenue at the end of the block. As a member of that block, we're deeply concerned about the use of that space in that location. We found out that it's being applied to be for up to almost 600 people and would be in operation from 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. every day. Our block is a one-way street, very small houses. It's a lot of families. We are struggling right now to deal with the capacity of urban air, which has yet to be addressed by the city, which is very, very frustrating. The amount of congestion traffic at the end of our block, we have no stoplight, we have no stop signs. The idea that we're going to have 600 people being dumped out onto our block potentially at 2 a.m. is kind of unfathomable. I don't know how that would work from a traffic standpoint, how these people would exit, how they would enter. The cleanliness of our block is already suffering from urban air. The idea of trash and public urination and disorderly conduct from alcohol and just the capacity is deeply, deeply concerning. There are other members of our block that are here that may want to say something as well, but I really do not think this is an appropriate location for this type of venue. And I very much encourage the committee to deny this application.
Additional public coming up.
Good evening. Thank you for holding this meeting. My name is Sarah Adams. I've been living on the 45th Street between 2nd and 3rd Avenue for almost 10 years now. I've had the pleasure of raising my children there and some of my neighbors that are here. We have a very lovely, close-knit community on this block. I also am very, very concerned about this venue, I'll call it, that is proposing to move into this location. So just this weekend, I was walking my dog, and where this proposed venue is, they're currently renting it out, to my understanding, for events. This weekend, the doors were open, music was on. I was speaking to a neighbor across the street who lives directly across the street, and his comment to me was, you know, when these doors are open, I can hear the music in my house. Hopefully my neighbors that are online will also be able to comment on this. I lived above a nightclub for a few years in my early 20s, unfortunately. I saw what happened at the end of a 12-hour day of people being in a nightclub. Personally, my family, our bread and butter is small business. I completely encourage that. But I'm very concerned about fights, public drunkenness, urination, vomiting. 600 people at the end of that block is not tenable for that community. As Belle mentioned, we are already struggling with urban air. And it's a family, I'm happy to see families walk down the street, but there is litter everywhere. We have people waiting in their cars lined up on 2nd Avenue in 4 rows of cars where there's one very small area that cars from 2 directions are trying to drive. We are the block that goes straight to the, the subway, and also people, you know, if cars are driving down, thankfully the community board approved speed bumps on our block a couple of years ago. We have those, but they gun it down that street. It is overwhelmed on the weekends and an evening with just what's happening. If it's okay, I have a letter from a neighbor who is very ill, who couldn't attend to this meeting. And so this is from my next door neighbor, Maricel Delgado, who may or may not be online. Subject personal petition to address noise pollution and safety concerns caused by Family Hall Events, Inc. at 4515 2nd Avenue, Brooklyn. Okay, to whom it may concern, I, Maricel Delgado, a resident of 45th Street, Brooklyn, New York, am writing this personal petition to bring attention to the escalating issues posed by Family Hall Events Events, Inc. The detrimental impact of the club's activities in our neighborhood has reached a critical point affecting both peace of our community and of our safety. Noise pollution. The constant noise from Family Hall events has become persistent disturbance, disturbing my daily life and preventing me from enjoying a peaceful home environment. The loud music and commotion extended late into the night, making it challenging to rest and affecting my overall well-being.
You wrap up, please.
This is from another neighbor. So could we accept it for like
We'll accept that, yeah.
45 seconds? Okay.
No, I meant we'll accept it as written testimony.
Okay. I was hoping that we could, everyone could hear it since we're going to vote tonight.
Just to be equitable, we allow 3 minutes for public comment, but we can submit that into the written testimony.
Okay, thank you.
And if we have another hand on Zoom.
Alex Weinberg, you can unmute and you have 3 minutes to speak.
Yes, hello. I'm a resident of the district. I live on Prospect Avenue. I'm calling in support of the Aero Linen project. Actually, I don't support the Aero Linen project. I believe that the building needs to be taller, denser. We need more residential units.
Sorry, Alex, Aero Linen is not on the agenda. So this public comment would go in our second public comment this evening.
This is the second public comment this evening.
This is the first public comment of our board meeting.
Okay, we'll just record this, replay it for the second public comment. Aero Linen, make it taller, make it denser.
Sir,
Let's
if
get
I
it
can just
done.
ask
Thank
you-
you.
Okay, we'll call on you in the second public comment. The next speaker.
I have Sheldon Moyer. Sheldon, you can unmute yourself. And you have 3 minutes to speak.
Good evening, everybody.
I'm Sheldon Moyer. I'm a resident of Sunset Park. I reside in 45th Street. I'm also calling this evening to voice my concern and my desire for the community board not to approve the cabaret license that's currently being sought by the Family Hall Center on 45th Street. As other members of the community have already expressed, this is the wrong place for something like this to start a business. We have various concerns, as already pointed out. 600 people at the end of this block with no attention given to how people are entering and exiting the event, how they're getting here, what they're doing when they leave. Up to this point, per the last meeting by the community board, the individuals seeking for this license have been operating an event that accommodated some family events. They're now saying that there's no longer going to be anything like that. It's going to be simply all 21 and over all the time, essentially a nightclub functioning 7 days a week in a neighborhood that can't accommodate the parking, can't accommodate the people. I also have grave concerns after watching the last community board meeting. The applicants have no experience running anything nearly this scale or any business of their own previous to this. These are not people who have any experience doing this in other neighborhoods on any scale at all. I respect small businesses. I own one myself. But again, it seems like there's just not a level of consideration for the neighborhood or how this is actually going to function. I respect the desire to start a small business, but wrong place and wrong time. As others have pointed out, Urban Air has opened at the end of our block. We struggle 7 days a week with the impact of that business, which also went in with what seems to be very little concern for the impact on the neighborhood in terms of people entering, exiting, getting dropped off, getting picked up. The level of trash in our neighborhood, debris on the streets. Again, as other people have pointed out, at nighttime, inebriated people on the streets, public urination, all the things that come along with a nightclub. It's just not acceptable. And it's just, again, I would voice my concern and appreciate that the community board please deny their application. Thank you.
Thank you. And one more public comment.
I have Norma Wallace next. Norma, you can unmute yourself and you have 3 minutes to speak. Sorry, Norma, I accidentally removed your permission to speak. You could unmute yourself now. Norma Wallace, you can unmute yourself.
This is Sheldon Moyer. I believe I'm still.
Sorry, Sheldon, I just muted you. Norma, I see you're unmuted. Norma?
Can you hear me?
Now we can. You have 3 minutes.
Okay. I also live on 45th Street between 2nd and 3rd. Urban Air has been a big problem for us. Right now, I've been waiting for parking for an hour. I'm still in my car. The security of a cabaret opening up there with 500 people, there's no way that's going to be able to be controlled. Even if they have security, there is absolutely no way to control that amount of people, especially on our small block. In the mornings, it's horrific when we're trying to get out and there's buses, school buses packed. We can't even get through. I have to have eyes in the back of my head just to make sure I don't hit anybody. There's no stop signs. There's only a stop signs. There's no lights, no anything. I'm afraid of kids getting hurt. I don't agree, and I'm not supporting, and I'm hoping that you don't support it either.
Thank you. So moving, we have one more public comment. Just please come to the microphone.
Hello, my name is Sharifa and I'm a resident of 45th Street. I've resided there for 22 years and I'm opposing the opening of this club or cabaret that's opening. This is a very family-oriented residential street. Urban air has been such a negative impact on us. There is absolutely no parking. Like they said, 7 days a week. Once you come out, you can't come back in. The amount of litter that I have in front of my house has been uncontrollable. People laying on my stoops. We've reported it several times and nothing has been done about it. Just the safety of the block and the safety of these children that we have. There's no more safety, actually. And we don't feel comfortable in our homes anymore. I wake up at 2, 3 in the morning to fighting in front of my house or fighting from down the block. They are hosting large parties and we can barely accommodate that. So to open something that has capacity for 500, 600 people, I can't imagine what safety measures they would take or what safety measures would be implemented for us on the block. I oppose this totally. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. So moving on to our agenda, we do have a short presentation from Antonio Whitaker with the Department of Sanitation.
Antonio, you can unmute yourself.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Antonio Whitaker. I am the Assistant Director of the Community Affairs Bureau at the Department of Sanitation. I have just 2 very brief updates from the department. Curbside composting is continuing for all Brooklyn residents. The department currently has no plans on suspending or pausing this service. So please continue to set out your leaf and yard waste, your food scraps, and your food soil paper at the curb inside of your labeled bin with a secure lid or in your DSNY brown compost bin if you have one. All right. Also, with regards to bulk collection, if you do have an item that you want the department to take that is fairly large, like an old couch or an old piece of furniture, we ask that you set that out on your trash only day, not on your recycling day. Okay. If you set it out on your recycling day, you could potentially get a ticket. So set out any bulk items on the curb on your trash only day. Okay. And with regards to residential waste containerization, in the fall of next year, residential buildings with 1 to 9 units will be required to set out all trash in containers with secure lids at the curb for collection. And in the summer of 2026, property owners of buildings with 1 to 9 units must purchase an official NYC bin to set out trash at the curb. Official NYC bins will be available until the fall of 2024. The city currently released an RFP, a request for proposal, on October 11th of this year to contract with a vendor to produce official NYC sanitation bins. The department has mandated that the vendor produce bins according to specifications, including but not limited to a cost of no more than $50 for the most common size, which is about 55 gallons. It must be available in multiple sizes to accommodate different types of buildings. And it also must be rat resistant, easy to use by sanitation workers, and compatible with mechanized collection trucks. Okay. So we have some time before the department is going to mandate that, but I just want to let the board know that come fall of next year, all residential buildings, again, with 1 to 9 units will be required to set out all your trash in containers with secure lids. And that's all I have. Thank you so much and happy holidays.
Thank you, Mr. Whitaker. Moving on to first committee report. This was from the tabled November board meeting. The Steiner Studios sequel building and the improvements for the parks planned for Bush Terminal Park. Last week, we did resend the presentation from that joint meeting and the minutes from the Parks Committee. And looking to entertain a vote this evening to support the parks improvements at Bush Terminal Park. Motioned by Joe to for the improvements on the parks, seconded by Sam. Is there discussion on the motion? Sorry, it's board members only at this point. Cindy?
I'll be voting, I have a conflict due to my work situation, so I'll be voting present, I believe. Is that correct? Yeah.
Correct. Thank you. Sure.
We need you to use a microphone.
The point of information is that this says presentation from Steiner Studio on their Steiner sequel building and park plans. But you are saying that we are only voting on the park plans right now?
Yes, so the motion is to only vote on the park improvement plans. This board previously voted on Steiner Studios in November 2020.
But then shouldn't the agenda been modified so that it doesn't make it look like we're voting on Steiner Studios sequel building?
So
that's what we tabled the last time. So I think it's a little bit confusing, at least to me.
Yes, that is an oversight, but the motion that was made for this meeting was just for the Parks Department, for the parks improvement.
So right now, I'm just repeating back what you're saying. We are only voting on the park playground design that we saw.
Correct.
And then if we want to, what Public Design Commission asked was for the community board to respond to the Steiner Studio proposal that they asked for a letter. That would have to be something separate.
From my knowledge, I believe the request was just for the parks design. Am I right, Jeremy? Oh, they asked for it separately. Oh. Well, I mean, this board previously voted for Steiner Studios in 2020. So I don't think it makes sense for us to revote, which is why the motion is just for the parks improvement. Correct. John and then Jeremy. Yeah.
Yes, point of order in terms of the agency approval that we gave in 2020 was for EDC in terms of, I think, site plan application. The request from December 11th was for the Public Design Commission reviewing the design of the development, which I think are two separate issues. So I think recognizing what Katie is bringing up as a separate issue doesn't preclude us from, accepting the EDC proposal in 2020, but going to PDC, it is an issue of design. PDC does require community board approval in order to process. So if we do want to, claim that there is an issue with the design as presented to us on that day, then I think we can vote to reject that or to not approve it vis-a-vis just for the community, just for the PDC approval.
Thank you, John, for that correction. So with that, I'm actually a little unsure how to proceed. Thank you. Right now, there is a motion on the floor to approve the parks design for Bush Terminal Park. So we need to address that motion before we proceed. For Steiner's design, thank you. For the park only. Yes, thank you. Jeremy Kaplan and then to Zoom.
Yeah, I just wanted to second what John was saying, that I think from our understanding from last vote and from postponing, it felt like we were voting also on both projects and the design committees commission. So I think it's really important that we include that in the vote. I don't know if this is possible, but if we can split the vote up and have it as a park vote and then also the design commission vote, that's what I would propose.
So yes, let's deal with the motion on the floor and then we can entertain a motion about the Steiner Studios building for PDC. On Zoom, who do we have?
Antoinette Martinez, you can unmute.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, so I just want to thank John Fontillis for bringing that up, and I agree. Steiner Studios significantly changed their design plan from what they originally presented to the board. So voting on it, at least in my opinion, would make a lot of sense. And I also agree with the point that Jeremy had made. If it could be very clear that we're voting on two separate items, I would propose that as well. Thank you.
Thank you. And I also neglected to ask the committee chairs if they have anything to add. Victor, who is joining us virtually, and Damaris.
This is Victor here. I'm sorry I couldn't make it. Not feeling well. I have nothing to add besides what's in the report I submitted. I know there's some questions on Steiner Studios itself, but on the park side, I have nothing else to add.
Thank you. So I would like to vote on the motion, which is to approve the parks improvement for Bush Terminal Park. And I'd like to do this by a hand vote. So all those in favor of the motion to approve the park improvements for Bush Terminal Park proposed by Steiner Studios, if you can raise your hand. You can put your hands down. All those opposed? And one member voting present. Any abstentions? None. That motion passes. So thank you. Chair Manassa, Damon, would you like to introduce a motion for in regards to the Steiner Studios building project?
I would like to include a motion for voting on the the Steiner Studio project.
In favor or oppose?
Opposed.
Okay, so there's a motion to oppose the Steiner Studios building project. Is there a second? Thank you for the clarification. So just thank you. Just to clarify, it is a motion to not approve and oppose the Steiner Studios project, their application to the PDC. Is there a second to the motion? Seconded by Sam Sierra. Any discussion? Just microphone, please. Thank you.
I just wanted to say I'm going to vote present for a potential conflict of interest.
Thank you. Any other discussion on the item? Katie?
For discussion, I think some of the challenges associated with voting on this were the issues that were raised last time that were brought up during the meeting that happened. And there were questions raised related to asking them for information on environmental impact and traffic and truck impacts. I am not aware of any of that coming to the board. We asked them for it in the meeting and it hasn't come through in any of the additional follow-up. So I just want to say that that remains a challenge and an issue given everything that this community has addressed. Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Thank you, Katie. Any other public questions or discussion on the motion? Cindy?
Also voting present due to conflict.
Thank you.
potential.
Let's give us, Steiner a moment to, thank you. Thank you, Cynthia.
Hi, how are you? Debbie Feinberg. I am here to represent Steiner. I want to say hi to everyone. I joined the Parks and Economic Development Committee meeting back, I think, November 14th. So I am here. I'm here just to listen. I just want to clarify a couple of things, if that's okay. We're happy to be here. We're happy to be a part of this community and looking forward to our development here. As far as PDC, I know Katie was on the call. I know John was on the call. I don't know who else might have been listening in on the PDC hearing. Just for clarity, so that everyone understands what they're voting on. PDC voted to approve the public design application that was submitted by EDC for the Steiner project for both the parks project and the buildings. So there was discussion about community board. EDC did respond, as Katie mentioned. They talked about community engagement, and what PDC asked for at that time was just that we return to the community board, that the community board continues to discuss this project, whether or not the community board approves the project or not. The PDC, as far as the design of the design components of the building, have already been approved. So I just wanted to make that clarification because I feel like it wasn't totally clear from this discussion. We welcome your engagement. We welcome comments. We welcome you to email me personally anytime. There's the public email that we always post. I can't even think. D. Feinberg at Steiner Studios is the best way to reach me. So just a reminder here, as far as the truck information that Katie, I know, just referenced, and some of the environmental impact. I have some statistics about some traffic studies that we've done based partially on our experience in the Navy Yard and what's projected here at in Sunset Park. Our analysis shows, and I can show you this chart. It's kind of, a little bit technical, but the analysis shows that there would be 30 fewer trucks per weekday AM peak hour, 18 fewer trucks per weekday midday peak hour, and 32 fewer trucks per weekday PM, afternoon peak hour for for our studio to operate there than its other approved uses, which is manufacturing. So essentially what we're saying is the use of a film and television studio in that space, other than its other approved use, manufacturing, would actually produce far less truck traffic in and out, and it would particularly be during non-rush hour times. So we wanted to provide that information from a traffic study that we've been working on. Anything else, I'm happy to answer anyone that has any questions. And we're here to be helpful. So.
Thank you. And I believe we have two other questions from board members.
Antoinette Martinez.
Hi, so just to clarify, was CPC's vote yes? Was their vote yes conditional based on the community board's vote? Yes or no?
Sorry.
As far as I understood and heard, it was voted conditioned on your taking a vote and the engagement on this subject, but not necessarily the outcome of the vote. I didn't make that up. That's what I heard at the PDC meeting.
Thank you.
John Johnston?
I just want a quick comment. I mean, the city's hemorrhaging jobs, hemorrhaging taxes, and we need the support of organizations like Steiner to really rebuild the city. And I wholeheartedly support this project.
Thank you, John. The other John?
Look, at the end of the day, community board can do whatever we want, right? We are an agency, a part of the city, but we only have recommendation abilities. Although most PDC processes, if the community board is not in favor, that does weigh heavily on the board's deliberations. Now, if the board did say that they approved it, look, I mean, all we can say is that we have reservations, the design of the height, the traffic separation, the lighting that's visible from upland, the separation, complete separation of the waterfront from the upland streets, because it reaches an entire wall, essentially, because Steiner Studios will separate the Bush Terminal Park from the rest of the community. Those are all items that PDC typically reviews as part of the application. We can say whatever we want, we're the community board, but I would say that it would not be a clean approval in that case. If we came out very strongly with a letter that said we have design issues, we can still support the application for its jobs and its economic development. But we have, severe issues with the layout, the configuration, the public design elements that relate the development to the community.
John. I would like to move this to a vote. I think regardless of the outcome, any letter we do send will include issues with the design, as John Fontilla stated, because I think that it's important to capture that on the record. So the motion on the floor is to disapprove the Steiner Studios building and submit to PDC from the presentation at the joint meeting. A yes vote is a no vote. So if you're voting yes, you're agreeing to disapprove. A no vote is to disagree and to disagree with the motion. I know it's confusing. Does anyone need me to repeat that?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Please.
So the motion on the floor is to disapprove the Steiner Studios building presentation from the joint committee meeting. A yes vote is to disapprove the resolution. A no vote to disapprove the design. A yes vote is to disapprove of the design. A no vote is to disagree with that, to vote to support the design. Yes. And no means yes. I know that's usually the easy way we say it, but I tried to be a little more clear, and I guess I sound a little more confusing. Okay, so let's do this with a hand vote. All those in favor of disapproving the design, please raise your hand. Thank you. You can put your hands down. All those in favor.
Julio, can we have a roll call so that we have the vote on record?
Thank you, Antoinette. Let's move to a roll call.
Okay, so I'm going to call your name. Please share your vote. I will repeat your vote, and then we will move on. If you are joining us on Zoom, please remember to unmute yourself and then mute yourself after your vote. Amel Abzal. Amel Abzal, no. Grisel Amador. Grisel Amador. Damian Andrade. Damian Andrade, yes. Joan Body. Joan Body.
So no.
Joan, is that a no vote? I'm not sure what to write. You're approving the design? So that would be voting no on the motion. Joan Body, no. Gladys Bruno. Gladys Bruno, yes. Glornet Contras. Jerry Chan.
No.
Jerry Chan, no. Esteban Chavez. Esteban Chavez, present. Richard Codor. Christina Das. John DeLuper. John DeLuper, no. Beatrice DeSapio.
No.
Beatrice DeSapio, no. Gabino Morales Escamilla.
No.
No. Morales Escamilla, no. Cynthia Felix. Cynthia Felix, no. John Fontillis. John Fontillis, yes. Kin Fung.
No.
Kin Fung, no. Cynthia Gonzalez. Diana Gonzalez. Diana Gonzalez, no. Hector Gonzalez. Hector Gonzalez. Hector, you have to unmute yourself. I'll try to get back to him. Kenny Guan. Nicole Huang.
No.
Nicole Huang,
I said no.
Is that Hector Gonzalez?
I said no.
That's you, Hector?
Yes.
Thank you. Hector Gonzalez, no. Nicholas Jackson. Nicholas Jackson, no. John Johnston.
No.
John Johnston, no. Jeremy Kaplan. Jeremy Kaplan, yes. Beverly Kleinman. Beverly Kleinman, no. Wyco. Wyco, yes. Barbara Lee. Christina Lem. Christina Lem, no. Angie Lau. Paul Mack. Paul Mack. Paul, you have to unmute yourself. We'll get back. Antoinette Martinez.
Yes.
Antoinette Martinez, yes. Marilyn Melman. Marilyn Melman, no. Rosie Moda.
Hello, this is Rosie Mota. No.
Rosie Moda, no. Jamie Nelson. Jamie Nelson, no. Julio Pena III.
No.
Julio Pena, no. Karen Rolnick. Karen Rolnick, no. Joanna Romero.
Yes.
Joanna Romero, yes. Patricia Ruiz.
No.
Patricia Ruiz, no. Damaris Santiago. Damaris Santiago, no. Sam Sierra.
Correct.
Correct. Sam Sierra, yes. Ryan Smith. Ryan Smith, no. Kalina Sorma. Kalina Sorma, no. Victor Swinton.
No.
Victor Swinton, no. Cindy Vandenbosch.
Present.
Cindy Vandenbosch, present. Catherine Walsh. Catherine Walsh, yes. Cesar Zuniga. Cesar Zuniga, no. Paul Mack. Last call, Paul Mack. Good. Motion does not pass. 9 yes, 26 no, 2 voting present.
Thank you, Jeremy. And from my knowledge, since there were more no votes than yes votes, that means that the board approved.
The board has not taken a position on this.
Okay,
We voted no, so we do not support that motion.
thank you. Thank you for the discussion.
I didn't hear what Jeremy said. Yeah, I agree. May you please say it again, Jeremy?
The board has taken no position. We voted no on a motion.
This is Rosie Mota. If I may, at least for the record, change to yes.
Okay, we have.
So the
Thank
final,
you.
let me change the tally then. So then the tally is 10 yeses, 25 noes with 2 voting present.
Thank you. So I would like to move on to land use landmarks. There is no vote, but unless the chair would like to add anything to the minutes.
Folks, please remember to mute yourself after you vote.
Julio, just to confirm, are members allowed to submit comments to the letter that's going to be sent to CPC regarding the conditions that will be listed?
Sure. If you have language, please email that to the board email. Go ahead.
Okay. Hello, my name is Diana Gonzalez. I am the chair of the Land Use and Landmarks Committee. We met recently about the City of Yes for Economic Opportunity. This is an 18-point plan, so I'm not going to try to summarize it because we'd be here all night. And I think we have a party to get to after this, if I'm not mistaken. So we did not reach quorum at our meetings. We had no official decision, but instead decided to do a second meeting about the City of Yes for Economic Opportunity on, I believe it's January 10th. So we will be having a second meeting there. It's an interesting set of plans. The idea is to change the zoning in order to promote economic opportunity. And there are some aspects of it that seem pretty fine, and then some that are a little more controversial. We did hear commentary earlier about the micro distribution, for example. So I would highly encourage members of the committee to please show up in person to the next meeting. If we can't achieve quorum, we can't do any business. So that's all I got, and I'm happy to take questions. But great.
Okay, thank you. So moving on to
I'm sorry, I'd like to be recognized for a question. My hand was raised.
Sorry, I didn't see the hand. Go
No
ahead.
problem. My question's for the chair. I know everyone wants to get to a party, but I think the City of Yes proposal is really important, and it would be helpful just to have a quick rundown of those points for not only for the committee and the board, but for folks who are attending.
Well, I will add that the presentation itself was made available in the minutes that we just sent out. I don't feel confident to represent the Department of City Planning and go through the whole thing personally at this point in time. But that is available. And again, we are having a second meeting about it where we'll be able to go through everything all over again. So I apologize for not having more at this time.
And the meeting was also recorded and available on our YouTube page, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. Jeremy?
Jeremy, can that information be circulated to folks who are attending tonight? Especially community members who are on the phone?
Can you repeat that, Antoinette?
I'm just overall concerned about how we disseminate information. So it would be helpful. I apologize for the background noise. It would be helpful if we could disseminate that YouTube link to folks who are in attendance today, just so that they have, they have that information and they can go ahead and review it at their leisure, especially since the board is looking to vote on it pretty soon. So, it would be good to not only hear from committee members, but also from members of the community so that they can attend that meeting and provide feedback.
Okay, point taken. Thank you. Jeremy?
I have a question about the application process. Does the Euler process, is the 18 points, do we vote on each point? or do you vote on the entire package of the city of yes? So do you have to approve the entire thing, or can you go through the various proposals?
Jeremy's gonna respond to that.
That depends on the motion that's put forward. You could choose to do it in bulk. You could choose to do it individually. You could choose to do it, we approve these, we disapprove those.
But the ULURP will have everything.
The ULURP has everything, yes.
Thank you. So moving on to Parks and Environment. They had a meeting regarding Demick and just Demick Park, sorry. Victor?
Excuse me, sorry. I'll get to this I shouldn't say quick as possible, but I'll get to it. We had a meeting on November 28th. Meeting started about 6:35 p.m. We have guest speakers from Parks Department, Jim Morris, who I see is present there. And we also had a presentation from New Yorkers for Parks, who I think our representative is online. Presentation from Parks and Recreation was on the reconstruction of the Demick Playground located 3rd Avenue, 34th and 35th Street, adjacent to Sunset Park High School. And the presentation from New York Parks dealt with 1% for Parks campaign. Before I get into that, Parks also came with an update for Peña Herrera Park. Stated that the handball court area is not only going to be used for pickleball, but for other sporting activities as well, such as soccer or whatever else could be played there. When it comes to Demick Park, the goals are to create a thriving public space in partnership with the school, define areas for adult children, improve circulation, upgrade play and sports equipment, develop a passive seating area and gathering space, provide more welcoming entrances, and mitigate the presence of the Gowanus Canal Expressway. The total budget for this project is $7.6 million. It's in the fiscal year 2023. This plan is a 3-year project that currently in the design stage, which started June of 2023. The next stage will be June 2024, which will deal with the procurement, which will last a year, but the park will still be open. And the last stage will be the construction, where the park will be closed, and that will last a year. Some community priorities they brought up. Play, they wanted open play areas, synthetic turf, accessibility, active recreations, some green space, some seating, some water, water plays, drinking fountains, things of that nature. Engagement, outdoor classrooms for the school to get involved using the park. The thematic designs on the north side of the park, closer to 34th Street, there was 2 entrances coming from that corner. Those entrances will be shifted a little east on 34th Street in order to not disturb the trees. This will allow people to come in on 2 walkways into the center plaza space along the west side. 1 entry from the south side that allow people to walk up from 35th Street into the same center plaza. The play area. Accessibility was a key feature in their designs. They're gonna have a 2 to 5 play area, accurate play panels, different type of ramps, the seating area around the perimeter for all the caretakers that are watching their kids in the 2 or 5 play area. There are 4 different entrances into the play area. In the 5 to 12 play area, play equipment is a little bit more challenging, but accessibility again is a key feature in their design. 1 basketball court will be removed. Play area will be surrounded with some vegetation and fencing. When it comes to the spray play area in Central Plaza, which is located on the west side of the park, place for people to gather. 2 walkways coming in from the north from 34th Street, 1 walkway coming from 35th Street. There will be seating around the perimeter Display play areas will be more active in summer months, but when not in use, they could be utilized for gathering, child play, performances, and things of that nature. Spray plays will all be ground mounted, nothing vertical. The pedestrian mall, walkways on both sides, shades trees, drinking fountains, concrete game tables with 4-inch benches, four-inch benches with chairs. There'll be some new lighting. Or some lighting, new trees will be planted for more shades in the seating area. When it comes to fencing, big chain link fence around the perimeter will be removed. New 4-foot steel picket fence around perimeter, 2.5-foot fence around planted areas, 3-foot fences around the swings, 8 to 12-foot fences around the basketball court, and 16-foot fences around the handball courts. When it comes to the trees, due to some trees, their condition, some will be removed. New trees will be planted. Planting of new trees will be planted along 3rd Avenue to block the view and some noise off the Gowanus. We had some questions that were given to Parks. They got back to us on the 2 questions that mainly came up. One of them had to do with adding a skate park and a fitness center. Their response is unfortunately due to the size of the entire park. The skate park area wouldn't be possible without eliminating the courts or majority of the play equipment seating area on the west side near 3rd Avenue. When it comes to the adult fitness area, the designer did investigate the opportunity of including an adult fitness area inside the park, which could potentially fit in the northern handball court, seen on the PowerPoint that went out. The Parks Department did speak to the administrators at the school. They said that the teenage students and users of the park use those courts heavily for all sorts of sports practices and activities, as well as handball players who will be upset at the removal of the courts as well, adding that the play equipment will take away that opportunity from them. And another question that was answered was, with the crisis coming up, budget crisis, will the funding for this project be interrupted? At this point, the answer was no, but you never know what's going to happen. Due to the fact that we did not have quorum, we're bringing it to the board. Maybe someone to put a recommendation for a letter of support for this program. If there's any questions, I see Jim there. He came to answer any other questions that may be put out from the board. And that's where we're at with the first part of that presentation.
Thank you, Victor. Would you like to make a motion?
I would like to make a motion that we write a letter of support for this design for the Amico Park.
Is there a second to the motion? Seconded by Cynthia Felix. Discussion? Aaron?
I know this at this late date, we're all tired, but I actually oppose the design because I think it's not the best use at this particular area for that space. In my opinion, they designate much too much area for young kids and toddlers. And this is next to a high school. And if you look at the surrounding areas, the blocks in that area, it's not very densely populated. It's very low slung buildings interspersed with manufacturing, and there aren't enough families there to utilize a play area. There's play areas there now. They're rarely used. In fact, I was there on the way here today, and there were adults on the play area doing exercises. So I think that's one thing. And I think the other thing is that teens are very vulnerable and they need space to congregate and do things that are wholesome. And it's a very vulnerable age. And we have all kinds of playgrounds for little kids and we have all kinds of seating areas. I suggested the skate park, just throwing it out there. I think we ought to talk to the high school kids and see what they want, what would keep them active and engaged safely and wholesomely in our neighborhood. And I just think we need to rethink it. It's not the appropriate use, I don't think, for this particular location. And yeah, I think if they can't put in if the kids want a skate park and you have to remove the seating, I would say, yeah, remove the seating. It only attracts vagrants anyway. So I just think we need to rethink this. Thank you.
Karen, I do believe that that was raised in the Parks Committee meeting, and we did ask for supplemental, or we did ask for a follow-up, and I believe that the design did come from students at Sunset Park High School. Jim, yeah, go ahead. If you could just come to the microphone, please.
Great, I love sorry talking.
That one.
This is the beauty of, hello, everybody. My name is Jim Morris. I work for the Parks Department, part of the kind of the capital operations team at the Parks Department. We kind of run these scope meetings that we alluded to. We had one back in May. Part of the process of this, and I'll be very quick. I know this is a long meeting, so I just want to be very quick. Answer those specific questions because this is a great question. So at the end of the day, it is playground. It is, and we do need to still offer the play equipment for people of all ages, from toddlers to 12. That's kind of like the play equipment areas. There is an argument to be said that the people don't use it now, like the area, because it is kind of in an older state. It's kind of driving kids of all ages down. I won't say that. I know that these people in the area know it much better, but we do have to offer play equipment. It is something that came back in the area, was that there was people in the initial scope meeting that we had, a public input meeting in May, that said that they wanted that for their small children. A skate area is a fantastic idea. Brooklyn, specifically the borough of Brooklyn, has the most skate parks in the Parks Department system. So we love skate parks. However, they take a lot of land because you need to skate up, like get to it and then hop and stuff like that. So it would take all the play equipment away, and we can't really justify that. So I did work with the school to see to accommodation of more of like a teen kind of age accommodation. And they did come back and say, I worked with the athletic director and the new assistant principal there, and they said that the kind of the multi-purpose area that they use now is like heavily used, not only for their operations but for kids to hang out after school. The adult fitness suggestion, we wanted to incorporate that as best as possible, but they said, and again, this is not, they versus us or anything like that. The biggest stakeholders we try to do as best as possible, accommodating how they use the park now. And they did say that a corporation of adult fitness in one of the handball areas would take away from a lot of their operations during the school day and after, because teams line up there, they practice there, they play there, volleyball teams, all different teams, all different teams use it a lot. So wanted to add on to that, something that came up, and I wanted to do my due diligence to see that through, and we did what we could. So.
Thank you, Jim. And I do know, separately but also adjacent, the transportation committee will be meeting next month, right? Yeah. To continue talking about 3rd Avenue and BQE. And under the Gowanus, there's plenty of space, and I would love to see a skate park or more space for teen usage. So that's something that we can continue and talk about next month as well. Jeremy, bring us home.
Yeah, I would just say, in regards to the use of playgrounds, toddler space and stuff like that, I think when you look at for families that are in the 20s and 30s, there's not a lot of options. So having a great, like right now, the playground does get a little bit of use, but part of it is because of the older infrastructure. And then some of it is also just the BQE plus, a lot of homeless people congregate there too. So I think the more that the park is used, more families will come there. So I don't think there is a sense of like there will not be, the toddler space will not be used. I mean, there's already existing swings there that I've gone and seen parents there. I bring my toddler there every once in a while, but I think honestly, when you look at it, the playground space in the 30s and the 20s is minimal. So if you put something that is nice in that area, you will draw families who will walk a few blocks, where if you're in the high 20s, going to Sunset Park is not that great. And then you're going to either South Slope Playground, or, you actually have to walk quite a far bit to, and also you have to take into consideration that there are daycares and various different programs that could use that space and bring kids over there. I know there's like Home Sweet Home that is very popular, and a few other daycares around there in the 30s that would take advantage of that space because they're on between 3rd and 4th Avenue, and so that would be convenient for them. So I do think it's worthwhile to keep playground space there.
Thank you, Jeremy. I would like to move this to move to vote. I would like to, if there are no objections, I would like to approve the design for, oh my gosh, I'm already forgetting the name of the park, for John Demick Park as motioned. Are there any objections to approving? So let's do this by hand vote. If you approve the design as presented for John Demick Park, please raise your hand.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Pat.
Is there still quorum to vote?
Quorum call, so we need to take quorum. Stand by.
So folks, when I call your name, please just say you're here, if you're here. Amel Afzal. Thank you. Grisel Hamador. Damian Andrade. Thank you. Joan Body. Thank you. Gladys Bruno. Thank you. Glorinet Contras. Jerry Chan.
Still here, present.
Thank you. Esteban Chavez. Thank you. Richard Kodor. Christina Das. John DeLuper. Thank you. Beatrice DeSapio.
Yes, I'm here.
Here, but you don't count towards quorum. Gambino Morales Escamilla.
Here. Here.
Not count towards quorum. Cynthia Felix. Thank you. John Fontillis. Thank you. Kin Fung.
Here.
Cynthia Gonzalez. Thank you. Cynthia Gonzalez. Diana Gonzalez. Thank you. I didn't say Kin Fung. You do not count towards quorum. Hector Gonzalez.
Here.
Hector, you do not count towards quorum. Kenny Guan. Nicole Huang. Nicholas Jackson. Thank you. John Johnston.
Well, I'm still here. I know I don't no quorum.
Count towards quorum, exactly. Jeremy Kaplan. Thank you. Beverly Kleiman. Thank you. Wyco. Barbara Lee. Christina Lem. Thank you. Angie Lau. Paul Mack.
Here.
Thank you. Paul, you do not count towards quorum. Antoinette Martinez. Antoinette Martinez.
Present.
Thank you. You do not count towards quorum. Marilyn Melman. Thank you. Rosie Moda. Rosie Moda.
Rosie here.
Thank you. You do not count towards quorum. Jamie Nelson. Thank you. Julio Pena III.
Present.
Thank you. Karen Rolnick. Thank you. Joanna Romero.
Here.
Thank you. You do not count towards quorum. Patricia Ruiz.
Here, I know.
Damaris Santiago. Thank you. Sam Sierra. Thank you. Ryan Smith. Thank you. Kalina Sorma. Thank you. Victor Swinton.
Present.
You, Victor, you do not count towards quorum. Cindy Vanderbosch.
Present.
Thank you. Catherine Walsh. Thank you. Cesar Zuniga. Thank you. Twenty-five present. We still have a quorum in the room.
Thank you.
Got more votes coming, folks.
Yeah, I'm about to lock them doors. So I would like to,
I'm not set up yet.
oh, yeah. The motion on the floor is to approve the design for John Demick Park. If you are in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. Thank you. You can put your hands down as well as those on Zoom. If you are not in favor of the motion, please raise your hand.
Got it.
Any abstentions? No. The motion passes. Thank you. Victor, would you like to make a motion for the second item from the Parks Committee?
Yes, my motion for this second item of the committee is to support New Yorkers for Parks for 1%
Campaign,
1% for Parks campaign.
seconded by Damian Andrade. Is there discussion on the motion? Seeing as there's no discussion, I would like to move this to a vote. The unanimous consent, if there are no objections to supporting the 1% for Parks campaign.
Dedicating 1% of the city budget to parks.
Yes.
Seeing or hearing no objection, it is so passed unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you all. Enjoy your
Thank you,
holidays.
Victor. Same to you. And moving to Cynthia Felix for public safety.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Cynthia Felix. I'm the Chair of Public Safety, and we are here to vote on several applications. I would like to clarify that the Community Board does not have denial power for either state liquor authority or cannabis applications. So we just make a recommendation. The state liquor authority and the cannabis management office make their own determination. All we could do is submit forward what information we get from you, the public. So I just would like to clarify that. We're going to start with the first one, which was the liquor and cabaret license for family hall events. Also would like to clarify the address we received on the application is 201 46th Street. I know there were a lot of concerns from residents on 45th Street, but I would like to clarify that that was the application license we received. We are aware that it's a huge building that goes around, and perhaps there is egress and entrance on those other doors, but I just wanted to be clear on that. So we met with the applicants. I need to finish my report and then you'll have time for questions after. So we voted to approve and pass forward to recommend that they do get the license. We did ask Family Hall Events to provide us with information. We had several stipulations. We asked for the name of the security company rather, as well as a detailed security plan, including how they will comply with the DRAM law, which is having patrons that are inebriated, as well as measures to control loitering, crowds outside and noise, use of metal detectors, the name and phone number of both the manager and person designated to be in charge, a detailed fire safety plan, including dates of any FDNY inspections and approvals, as well as confirmation that the New York Nightlife NYPD recommendations handbook, that guideline that they agreed to abide by all rules and regulations in there, and as well as details on the soundproofing that was done to mitigate any noise. The applicant did submit all that information that we requested, and it was in alignment with SLA and NYPD nightlife regulations. Can people comment or do you have to vote? We're going to have cannabis after.
Want to go through the?
We'll go through all of them and then vote
Yeah, 'cause
together.
it's-
Okay.
it's like- Okay.
Okay, so we have that was the only cabaret license that we received, rather liquor license. So as I stated, the committee did vote to move the license forward. The applicants are here as well, and they did meet all the stipulations that the committee required. So I guess a motion to Jeremy? Come up here. Just step behind you.
Yeah, I'm just confused about the location because it looks like it's from the existing, there's a Hawaii bar that's there. It's in the same building, but it's not replacing. It's not, okay, because when you sort of Google that address, it shows Hawaii. Okay, so it's in that space and it will be occupying the ground floor around the corner of it. Okay, I see. All right, okay. And there's already, just to confirm, because I was confused, because I used to live on 46th Street, there was the Aztec Party Hall, which is a different party hall. This would be a new party hall. Okay, so that's that, because there's a lot going on there. So I get it, because, all right, that makes sense now. Sorry, I'm just very confused about all of
So
this.
Aztec is on 47th Street.
Yeah.
And this is on 46th Street, and it's currently being used right now as a rental. So it is rented out on a daily basis, on a weekend basis. It is rented out. So if I want to do an event, I would contact them and I could rent it out. Yes,
Sorry, it's board members.
board
only.
members. So to be clear, the security plan did stipulate that 46th Street would be the only entrance that is used.
Hey,
And the doors would
I couldn't hear the
remain closed.
question. Can we repeat the question?
She stated that there's two doors and that they've been seeing 45th Street entrance open. So it wasn't a question, it was a commentary. So the security plan, which we do have on file, does stipulate that 46th Street would be used and that the doors would remain closed and only be used as patrons enter and exit and not be left open. That was part of the soundproofing mitigation that we requested.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so it's only for board members
members
at this time. So we're gonna have to move forward with the, Damien, if you have a question as a board member, if not, we're gonna move forward for a vote.
This is there because I live on 45th Street and I don't know, I feel like, you know, it's the first time seeing some of my new neighbors. For me, I would say that, is there a way that we could like, I guess it's already approved, but like kind of like changed approval, like kind of allow them to like, if we actually go through it, would they have obligations to clean outside at least?
That was part of the plan as well, and it's in there as well as the security office that they're going to use. We do have those stipulations. We could add additional stipulations, like you said, to make sure that they do clean the area and maintain it clean. I don't have a problem with adding that.
And I see a hand from Victor Swinton.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to, on the votes, I'm just gonna vote present, that's all.
Yes.
Thank you, Victor.
Kevin and then Cindy.
So with regards to the security, if they have an unruly patron, the security guard generally takes that patron and throws them onto the street.
No, so there's an entire plan that was submitted. Board members are welcome to read it as well as the thing, just so that you know, according to the NYPD nightlife stipulation, it is one security guard for every 75 patrons. They actually exceeded the amount that they said they would have in the plan. And it is a licensed and bonded security company that they will be using.
Cindy?
But what happens to the unruly patrons? Where do they go?
They have a plan to contact NYPD. NYPD was also present at the committee meeting and also stated they had no 911 from that location. Katie?
Sorry, Cindy's on deck.
Cindy and then Katie.
Yeah, I just, especially since we have many residents that spoke in public comment, I just wanted to ask, are there any concerns that they've raised that haven't been addressed by the security plan or other kind of details that they've submitted since the meeting occurred?
Not that I see.
Katie?
I just, we are a community board. We're not like a small business approval community board. And I think it's really important that when people show up in person and they show up virtually, that we take that into consideration because we're a community board of community members. And that is a responsibility that we all have. So I just want to acknowledge that in the presence of thinking about how people are trying to show up and voice their concerns about things that are happening right next door and in their backyard. And that I hope everyone is thoughtful about that in their vote and their decision.
Thank you, Katie.
I would also like to state that any written documentation or presentation that you would like to submit, we would be happy to submit it to the school, state liquor authority, along with whatever recommendation the board makes. We would be happy to include any letters that we get from the community. Jamie?
It's on the Public Safety Committee, and I did vote to approve it after hearing concerns from the neighbors and hearing, in fact, that the doors are open. And it does make me question as to whether we did get perhaps accurate reporting as far as the 311 call complaints are concerned. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Okay, thank you.
Jamie. I would like to vote on the motion. The motion is to, from the committee, is to approve the liquor license and liquor and cabaret license for 201 46th Street Family Hall events. A yes vote is to approve, no vote is to disapprove. And we have one member voting present. Are in favor of approving the liquor and cabaret license at 201 46th Street, please raise your hand. Thank you. Yeah, we're gonna have to do,
Keep your hands up.
let's just do a roll call. We're gonna do a roll call vote on this.
Try to go through this fast. Let's start with the Mel Afzal. Mel Afzal, no. Grizel Amador. Damian Andrade. Damian Andrade, no. Joan Body. Joan Body, yes. Gladys Bruno. Gladys Bruno, no. Coronet Contras. Jerry Chan. Jerry Chan.
No.
Jerry Chan, no. Esteban Chavez. Esteban Chavez, no. Richard Codor. Christina Das. John DeLuper. John DeLuper, no. Beatrice DeSapio.
Yes.
Beatrice DeSapio, yes. Gabino Morales Escamilla.
No.
Morales Escamilla, no. Cynthia Felix. Cynthia Felix, yes. John Fontillis. John Fontillis, no. Kin Fung.
No.
Kin Fung,
No.
no.
Yeah.
I got you. Cynthia Gonzalez. Diana Gonzalez. Diana Gonzalez, no. Hector Gonzalez.
Yes.
Hector Gonzalez, yes. Kenny Guan. Nicole Huang.
No.
Nicole Huang, no. Nicholas Jackson. Nicholas Jackson, yes. John Johnston.
No.
John Johnston.
No.
John Johnston, no. Jeremy Kaplan. Jeremy Kaplan, yes. Beverly Kleiman. Beverly Kleiman, no. Wyco. Barbara Lee. Christina Lem. Christina Lem, yes. Angie Lau. Paul Mack.
No.
Paul Mack, no. Antoinette Martinez.
No.
Antoinette Martinez, no. Marilyn Melman? Marilyn Melman, no. Rosie Mota?
Hi, Rosie Mota here.
Rosie, what is your?
Hello?
Yes.
Yes, this is Rosie. I vote no.
Rosie Mota, no. Jamie Nelson? Jamie Nelson, no. Julio Pena the third?
Yes.
Julio Pena the third, yes. Karen Rolnick? Karen Rolnick, no. Joanna Romero?
Yes.
Joanna Romero, yes. Patricia Ruiz?
Yes.
Patricia Ruiz, yes. Tamara Santiago? Tamara Santiago, no. Sam Sierra? Very Sam. Sam Sierra, no. Folks, if you're online, please remember to mute yourself. Ryan Smith? Ryan Smith, no. Kalina Sorma? Kalina Sorma, no. Victor Swinton?
Yes.
Victor Swinton, present. Cindy Vandenbosch?
Yes.
Vandenbosch, yes. Catherine Walsh? Catherine Walsh, no. Cesar Zuniga? Cesar Zuniga, yes. Motion to approve does not carry. 12 yeses, 23 nos, 1 voting present.
So we're going to move on. We had 5 cannabis applications. I'm going to start with one, which was Dispo BK LLC. This applicant was invited to attend the meeting both via phone and email. Follow-up was made as a reminder. However, we did not hear back from the applicant and the applicant did not attend the meeting. The committee did not get the opportunity to hear from this applicant, and we recommend that this particular applicant is not approved to move forward simply due to a failure to appear before the committee meeting. That was, I'm sorry, thank you, Jeremy. That was at 584 4th Avenue. There was 2 applications for the same address.
Thank you. I would like to move this vote via unanimous consent. The motion is to disapprove Dispo BK LLC 584 4th Avenue. Again, the motion is to disapprove. If there is no objection, I'd like to disapprove.
I'm sorry, vote. I'm just gonna have to vote present again.
Thank you, Victor. With 1 member voting present, I'd like to move this via unanimous consent to disapprove the motion. Seeing or hearing none, passed.
Thank you. I'm going to lump the next 4 together, the next 4 applications. All 4 applicants did show up before the committee. They also sent up a follow-up questionnaire that the committee created. They agreed to follow all stipulations by OCM. The locations are in the following locations. The first one we have up is, of course, my phone went to the wrong thing, so hold on. Oh, thank you. 700 5th Avenue between 22nd and 21st. The next one is 585 5th Avenue between 16th and Prospect. The second one was we just voted on is at 584 4th Avenue between Prospect and 16th. And the final one is on 44th Street between 4403 5th Avenue between 44th and 45th. As I stated previously, they met before the committee. They also filled out the questionnaire. Also would like to point out that these locations are not guaranteed. These applicants actually go to a lottery and then OCM will select locations. There are certain regulations. You cannot be within 200 feet, 500 feet, and 1,000 feet of another dispensary. We're simply moving the applicants to the next round to be included in the lottery. So clarifying questions?
Yeah, it's just to clarify for everyone in the room and online. So there's one address, but there were 2 different applications.
Correct.
So which of the applications then would be included in this?
MB, that's what I was looking for. So it is MP and AB Enterprise Inc. They were the ones that were present. Those are the one we're moving forward.
So the
Any
motion,
further questions, comments? Tamaris?
I was also a little. The addresses. Okay, here we go. We did approve one recently. That's one, and this is now 4.
So the one that we had at our first meeting was for a location on 47th Street.
I
So
remember
all
that
we're
one.
doing is recommending they go to the next round. None of them are necessarily approved by the Office of Cannabis Management. All the applicants are going into a lottery pool, and then the Office of Cannabis Management will make the final selections.
So I know for a fact that the deadline to submit for applications was on the 18th.
Correct.
And a lot of people were submitting, and in this area. So what I did notice, I think the one that we said, okay, that we gave them a blessing, I don't think they're from Brooklyn or Sunset Park or New York. I think they were from Jersey. Do we know where any of these are from? Because I think when it was all designed, it was to help also the people of the community, to help women, minority businesses and so forth. And if we give all those yeses and they do get allocated, then we don't leave any space for any future local ones. That's what I'm thinking.
So the one last month, he was from Sunset Park. He owns the building in Sunset Park. And in addition, I just would like to state all the applicants, one of the questions is their community involvement, how they would give back and uplift the community, including a commitment to local hiring and responsible cannabis use, as well as other stipulations. And for my fellow union members, there's also an agreement that they agreed to let the workers unionize if they so choose to. There is a cannabis union. So that was all part of the social equity plan that it is in there, and all the questionnaires are available. All applicants submitted very detailed plans that are in alignment with enhancing the community and giving back to the community. That was one of the questions we specifically asked. If they were not part of the community currently, how would they give back to the community? And all of the applicants did submit that plan with satisfactory answers. And like I said, all the questionnaires are available.
Was there anybody from by blocks who were at the public safety meeting who were able to talk about this? Because these are also, many of them are sort of grouped around like the 20s and Prospect Avenue. Like that's a bunch.
The only applicant we had was representatives from the Hellenic Charter School that was on Fifth Avenue, and their concerns were addressed by the applicants.
So there weren't a lot of there weren't any other neighbors who were there.
No.
Because I think my sense of what's happening is people are seeing the illegal ones showing up.
Yes.
And then also maybe these legal ones, but there's so many that are showing up.
Yes.
And so I think Damaris's point is what
So there is a law that they cannot be within 1,000 feet of each other. So let's say, for example, 4403 Fifth Avenue goes on to the second round and gets selected. There cannot be he will hold that spot, and there cannot be another dispensary within 1,000 feet of that location.
It's 1,000 feet from entrance to entrance.
Entrance to entrance. About a quarter mile, about 5 blocks, quarter mile. So, yes. So we did take that into consideration. And like I said, these are conditional applications that just are moving on to round number 2. And all the questionnaires are available along with the plans that were submitted in the community board office for review.
So the motion is to approve, I'm gonna repeat them, MP and AB Enterprise Inc. at 584 4th Avenue, to approve 4403 Fifth Avenue, J Exotics NYC Corp., and to approve 585 Fifth Avenue, Green World 585 LLC.
And 700A Fifth Avenue, which is
Green World
700
700 LLC.
LLC. Yes, so 4 of them that we are motioning to move forward. We're going to vote on all of them together as a group.
So
Damien, second.
Thank you. I would like to approve this via unanimous consent if there are no objections. So let's do a hand vote. If you approve the motion to approve the 4 cannabis license as stated, please raise your hand. And put your hands down. If you disapprove of the motion, please raise your hand. Keep.
Calling your name, Katie Walsh. Amy Nelson. Mel Abzal. Gladys Bruno. Any other hands? I see Joanna Romero. John Johnston. Dino Morales Escamilla.
I think Victor.
Victor, that was a present? You can just give me a thumbs up.
Motion passes. Thank you, Cynthia.
Thank you. And to Damaris's point, the applications did close December 18th. The Public Safety Committee does expect to receive more applications. So I stated earlier, we do see this as an opportunity to mitigate illegal shops, Katie, and to have more legal shops in the community where we have some say so, and we're able to provide some stipulations that would be helpful and enhance our community instead of harming them. Yes, Damaris. So you're voting present. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you for staying for my committee vote. So I had a quorum.
Moving on to transportation, there is no vote required, but I will, Vice Chair John will be speaking briefly. Emphasis on the briefly. Thank you, John.
Thank you. Mayor, just giving a heads up from our last meeting, the Mayor's Office of Climate Justice and Climate and Economic Justice presented about their work in our area. We generated a list of questions that's going to get sent to them, and we're going to report back when we get their answers. We also had a robust discussion on 3rd Avenue and BQE issues, especially 3rd Avenue. And we solicited feedback from people in attendance there. I believe we're going to be sending out info to the full board, including those presentations, and that is going to be called for feedback, I think, to January 15th. Am I remembering that right? Yeah. So we'll request that feedback from the board. In addition, we're going to be looking to have a further meeting in January to discuss that feedback and maybe come up with a vote. And we're also hoping in the minutes, we're also hoping to get a meeting with the MTA regarding the IBX and congestion pricing. And there's details about the IBX and a call for feedback in the notes. There's also information about the Red Hook truck study and providing feedback for that. That, even though it's Red Hook, does include portions of our area, especially on 3rd Avenue. So please take a look at that and supply any feedback you can as well. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, John. So we did a roll call for the quorum call. So I'd like to move to the district manager's report.
Good evening, everybody. My gift to all of you this year will be brevity. I'm just going to have one item, which is today's the last day for toy collection for our holiday gift drive. Over the next 2 days, we are going to be purchasing additional toys, sorting and giving them to the families in our homeless shelters. We are looking for some volunteers over the next 2 days. Just a couple of people, if we could get to hopefully help us sort the toys, especially. If anybody wants to speak to us after the meeting, please see me or any of the staff. We could really use the help. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy. Any old business? Thank you. Any new business? Damien?
Hey everyone, so I'm here because I'm gonna introduce a resolution that the board should be taking up. I guess like the post memo will be Community Board 7 to draft a letter of support for a ceasefire and have Dan Goldman to co-sponsor House Resolution 786 calling for immediate de-escalation and ceasefire in Israel and occupied Palestine, whereas since the horrors that took place on October 7th from Hamas that killed innocent civilians, which Israel does have the right to defend itself, but this right does not include bombings of innocent civilians, bombings of schools, bombings of homes, hospitals, UN structures, and etc., where members of the community and constituents of Representative Dan Goldman have spoken in support of a ceasefire, as well as drafting and submitting a letter last week calling for a ceasefire to be resolved. That Community Board 7, be resolved that Community Board 7 calls for immediate ceasefire and cessation, can't say that word, of hostilities, and be further resolved that we call on Congressman Dan Goldman to support House Resolution 786, supporting the same. If passed, the resolution will draft a letter of support with community members involved and will be sent to Representative Dan Goldman to support House Resolution 786. Thank you. Oh, can I include that as a motion? I don't know if that's.
So you did that at the beginning. Is there a second to the motion? Seconded by Mel. Is there discussion for the letter of support for a ceasefire and calling on Dan Goldman, Representative Dan Goldman, to support HRES 786? Cindy?
We have quorum to vote.
Quorum call. And we just lost another one.
I'll try to do this fast. Amel Afzal. Thank you. Grisel Amador. Please be quiet in the hallway. Damian Andrade. Thank you. Joan Body. Thank you. Gladys Bruno. Thank you. Glenette Contras. Jerry Chan. Jerry Chan.
Yes. Yes,
Thank
yes, yes.
Thank you. Esteban Chavez. Still counts. Yep.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. That's right. You don't count towards quorum. Thank you. Esteban Chavez. Thank you. Richard Kodor. Christina Das. John DeLuper. Thank you. Beatrice DeSapia. Gabino Morales Siscamilla.
Yes, I'm here.
You know you don't count towards quorum. Cynthia Felix.
Cynthia Felix. Not present in the room.
John Fontillis. Thank you. Kin Fung.
Yes.
Thank you. Cynthia Gonzalez. Diana Gonzalez. Thank you. Hector Gonzalez.
Yes.
Thank you, Hector. You don't count towards quorum. Kenny Guan. Nicole Huang.
Yes.
Thank you. Nicole, you don't count towards quorum. Nicholas Jackson. Thank you. John Johnston.
I'm still here.
You, John, you don't count towards quorum. Jeremy Kaplan. Beverly Kleinman. Thank you. Wyco. Barbara Lee. Christina Lem. Thank you. Angie Lau. Paul Mack.
Yes.
Thank you. Paul, you don't count towards quorum. Antoinette Martinez.
Present.
Thank you. Antoinette, you don't count towards quorum. Marilyn Melman. Rosie Moda.
Here.
Thank you. Rosie, you don't count towards quorum. Jamie Nelson. Julio Pena III.
Present.
Thank you. Karen Rolnick. Thank you. Joanna Romero.
Here.
Thank you. Joanna, you don't count towards quorum. Patricia Ruiz.
Here, and I don't count.
Correct. Damaris Santiago. Thank you. Sam Sierra. Thank you. Ryan Smith. Thank you. Kalina Sorma. Thank you. Victor Swinton.
Present.
Thank you. Victor, you don't count towards quorum. Cindy Vandenbosch.
Present.
Thank you. Catherine Walsh. Thank you. Cesar Zuniga. Thank you. Felix, present. Twenty-two members present. We do not have a quorum.
So since we lost a quorum, the only official act we can take is to adjourn the meeting. However, if there are members joining in person or virtually who wish to speak before the board, since you waited this long, we'll call on those.
Hey, I have new business, so I can't state my new business.
You can, but we cannot take any official action.
You have another hand up before Jerry.
Well, I'll put it on the record.
Thank you.
All right, so I have Pat Ruiz.
Hi, thank you for your time. I want to, again, now that the committee assignments have been distributed, to have a bylaws committee called for January of 2024. That would be most appreciated. And with that, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. See you all in 2024. And please confirm that a meeting will be scheduled. Thank you.
Jerry Chen is next.
Yes, I'd like to ask the DOT or the mayor's office to come out and speak regarding the outdoor dining, the new rules. I know there is a new set of rules that is going to come out. Not sure how are we going to handle it as a community. I understand that every year they have to come out and reapply. So my ask is if we could ask somebody from the mayor's office and DOT and come out and speak behalf of that.
Thank you, Jerry.
That's all I have.
We can address that in an upcoming transportation committee meeting. Thank you. I wish everyone a happy. Oh, well, technically we already adjourned because we lost quorum, but thank you, John. Want to wish everyone a very happy holiday. Enjoy your time. See you in January. And hope to see you up the block at Loren for our holiday party. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Good night.